Is that a replacement printer?
Your Honor, Counselor Malonis, yes, it is. The other one was approximately 15 years old, and it literally blew up. Ink everywhere. But this is what we produce all of our signs with. We produce signs for other departments. It's a necessary part of our operation.
Okay, thank you.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstaining?
Abstaining.
Motion carries with Councilors Pedri and Thompson abstaining, bringing us to the salaries for April 22nd, 2025. Do we have a motion?
Your Honor,
Councilor Demas?
I make a motion to approve the salaries for April 22nd, 2025.
Thank you. Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Councilor Bingham. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstaining?
Abstaining.
Okay, the motion carries with Councilors Thompson and Pedri abstaining, which brings us to new business. And first up, we have approval of the preliminary budget for the City of Rock Springs for the period ending June 30th, 2026. Do we have a motion?
So moved, Your Honor.
Thank you, Councilor Hickerson. Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Councilor Demas. Do we have any discussion?
Your Honor.
Councilor Bingham?
So, as you're aware, I'm the land use director in Sweetwater County, and we presented our chairman and then our employer and economic development specialist did present tonight. I did notice under non-departmental funds that we have eliminated our funding for Sweetwater County Economic Development Coalition. Just want to make, you all have received correspondence from myself, from one of the Neutrona mines, Keltec, which is a new manufacturing business for the gun manufacturing business that was recruited by Sweetwater Economic Development Coalition. This will, obviously, once we break that 70,000, we break the contract. So what I commend the Budget Committee. I want to first say that because we have a balanced budget based on revenues and expenditures. So first I want to say that. I would just ask that between preliminary and final budget that the Budget Committee would consider looking at that. Thank you.
We also received correspondence from Commissioner Richards
Okay.
asking us to keep it open. It came Friday. I think you guys have it in your mailboxes.
Your Honor, yeah, I just wanted to kind of echo. I do think it's important. We all agree we need to have some kind of economic development organization in the community. It's the only way we're going to move ahead, and they have had some success. But the problem, I think, the major barrier that they've had is lack of funding.
Yeah.
To be able to do what needs to be done. I know that there's talk of and a plan in place to move forward. I would, as we move forward in the budget, I'd like to look and reconsider this as well, because I do think if we can fund it another year and let them get to where they need to be with their plan, I think that's going to do us more good than harm. I think it will do more harm if we just cut funding right now. That so.
Thank you. I actually, if the financial picture was different, I think you're absolutely right, Councilor Zadi, and that the most appropriate remedy would be for the county to chip in $300,000-400,000, Rock Springs to chip in $300,000-400,000, and for Green River to chip in a couple $100,000, and actually put the funding into economic development that's required for it to really get some work done. And so we certainly will take a look to see if we can figure out a way to move it forward. It again becomes a what do we reduce to make that happen? And this particular year's budget process was fraught with lots of big and lots of small cuts to get us to a balanced budget. But yeah, we definitely can get together and do that work prior to the final budget vote in June. Good.
Your Honor,
Yes, sir.
I'm just kind of getting up to speed on these budgets. So the preliminary budget that we approved today can be modified and looked at up until the end in our June meeting, our second June meeting, is that right? So we can tweak it and look at it and maybe find some money for the Civic Center or something, or what we can move around.
Here's the good news. Despite the fact that this year's financial picture is not as rosy as last year's, the city has plenty of money. What we have is more needs than we have money. So however council decides to prioritize those expenditures is how we'll end up spending the money. So yeah, we certainly can relook at where we could come up with funding. I don't want to speak for the budget committee, but from my understanding of the work that we did, when you're temporarily removing funding for police officers to balance the budget, we've looked pretty hard, but we would be happy to look again.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Your Honor,
Yes, sir.
just one correction. I sent, Mary, I believe, sent out an email requesting the budget be at a special meeting on the 10th, not the second meeting in June. So yeah, not the second meeting, not the regularly scheduled second meeting like we normally do. So
Yes, very good. And then you'll have to remind me, we got a motion in a second? Okay, very good. Okay, is there any further discussion? Okay, seeing none, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Abstain.
Any abstaining? Very good. The motion carries with Councilman Bingham abstaining, which takes us to a request from the Finance Department for permission to dispose of surplus property. Do we have a motion?
Your Honor,
Councilor Demus?
I make a motion to approve this request.
Thank you. Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Councilor Hanson. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstaining? Okay, the motion carries unanimously, taking us to a request from the Urban Renewal Agency for permission to apply for the 2025 Union Pacific Community Ties Community Vitality Local Grant to help offset the cost of replacing the ADA accessible chairlift at the Broadway Theater in the amount of $30,000. Do we have a motion?
Your Honor,
Councilor Demus?
I make a motion to approve this request.
Thank you. Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Councilor Pedri. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstaining? Motion carries unanimously, bringing us to a request from the Police Department for permission to apply for the 2026 Highway Safety Behavioral Program Grant for overtime enforcement of occupant protection and for overtime DUI enforcement. Do we have a motion?
Your Honor,
Councilor Hanson?
I move to approve this request.
Thank you. Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Councilor Thompson. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstaining? Motion carries unanimously, taking us to a request from the Picken Palace for a road closure of North Front Street between the intersections of K and J Streets on May 17th from noon until 6 p.m. for the Picken Palace's 30th anniversary celebration. Do we have a motion?
Your Honor,
Councilor Demus?
I make a motion to approve this request.
Thank you. Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Councilor Pedri. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstaining? Motion carries unanimously, taking us to a request from the Rock Springs Chamber of Commerce for approval of the Rock Springs Chamber Liberty Parade route on Gateway Boulevard on July 4th, 2025, beginning at 10 a.m. Do we have a motion?
So moved, Your Honor.
Thank you, Councilor Hickerson. Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Councilor Demus. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstaining? The motion carries unanimously, bringing us to our final item of new business, a request from the Sweetwater Dirt Racing Alliance for 7 malt beverage permits for the Sweetwater Speedway races on May 23rd through the 24th, June 6th through the 7th and 21st, and July 4th through the 5th of 2025 from 5 p.m. until midnight at the Sweetwater Speedway racetrack. Do we have a motion?
So moved, Your Honor.
Thank you, Councilor Pedri. Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Counselor Hickerson. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstaining?
Abstain.
The motion carries with Counselor Zadi abstaining, bringing us to our resolutions for this evening. First up is Resolution 2025-51.
You had 2 hours to get this ready, man.
Got it right.
Oh, boy, Matt.
Surprise.
That's the way it always happens.
A resolution accepting.
And approving.
Technology's been a joy tonight, I'll just say that.
It often is.
Of course, I've been blocked from accessing the agenda too online. So.
Your Honor, may I assist the clerk?
I have it, thank you.
Do you? Okay, I'm sorry.
All right. Resolution accepting and approving a commercial real estate purchase contract and counteroffer for the purchase of real property between Arnhem Way and the City of Rock Springs, Wyoming, and authorizing Max Mickelson as mayor and Matthew Allen McBurnett as city clerk to execute said contract on behalf of the City of Rock Springs.
Thank you. Council, do we have a motion?
Your Honor,
Ooh.
Motion before discussion? Do we have a motion?
Your Honor.
Councilor Zadi.
I'd like to make a motion to approve this and just kind of reiterate as well that within the sales contract, it states that the buyer needs to start construction within a year and be complete within 5. So there's an actual schedule set and hope that we will see some results and actually see that building be used. It's been a long time coming and several attempts that have failed, and sometimes just unfortunately with COVID was the last event. And funding and trying to secure a tenant, anchor tenant for that building, it proved a struggle. So I'm happy to see something move forward and know that if construction isn't started in a year, it's not just going to sit there. We will get it back and we try again. But it's not just going to sit abandoned by a private owner.
Very good. Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Councilor Hickerson. Is there any discussion?
Your Honor,
Councilor Hickerson.
I know this has been a fight from day one, especially when COVID hit and then the funding crapped the bed, but I did want to thank the previous council and mayor for at least taking a stab at trying to make Rock Springs downtown a little better.
It is actually a really perfect illustration of how you can have all the right information at the time and make the right decision based on the information, and then circumstances change between when they started the work, right? It was supposed to cost about $4 million to finish that building. And then COVID happened, and now they figure 10 to 12 million to finish that building because of inflation and all of the things that happened. So at the time, financially, not only did it make sense to save the building, but it could be a big boon for downtown. And then the circumstances changed radically, and it became outside of the city's capacity to accomplish. So then the prior administration and council and this administration and council have been trying to find a path forward and have tried some pretty radical, desperate measures. So I'm very excited that we do have an actual path forward that can see that building completed. Is there further discussion?
Your Honor,
Councilor?
I just love that building. I think it's the most beautiful building in town. I'm sure excited about it getting done, and congratulations and thank you for whoever was involved with putting that together. I think it's going to be a real good thing for the downtown. Do you have any idea what they're thinking about putting in there?
I do, but until the contract is completed, I don't want to share. But once it is complete and they've accepted, then I'll send an email out. I think at that point they would be comfortable as the buyers. It is. I will say that if I had designed the plan that would excite me most for the use of that building, they're spot on. So it is not just an offer that's going to move it forward, but it is exactly the sort of thing that we're really looking for. Good, thank you. Okay. Anything further? Very good. All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstaining? Motion carries unanimously, bringing us to Resolution 2025-52.
Your Honor, I do have this resolution in front of me. Sorry about the delay before. A resolution of the governing body of the City of Rock Springs acting in its capacity as the Board of Directors for the Rock Springs Housing Authority to accept a REAC arrangement letter with McGee, Hearn, and Pies LLC, certified public accountants, and authorizing the Supervisor of Housing and Community Development to execute said agreement.
Thank you. Council, do we have a motion?
Your Honor,
Councilor Demus?
I make a motion to approve Resolution 2025-52.
Thank you. Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Councilor Bingham. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstaining?
I will be abstaining.
Okay.
Abstaining.
Okay, the motion carries with Councilors Pedri and Thompson abstaining, which takes us to Resolution 2025-53.
A resolution accepting and approving a proposal from McGee, Hearn, and Pies LLP, certified public accountants and consultants to audit the financial records of the City of Rock Springs for the fiscal year ending June 30th, 2025, and authorizing Max Mickelson as mayor of the City of Rock Springs, Wyoming, and Matthew L. McBurnett as city clerk of the City of Rock Springs, Wyoming, to execute and confirm said proposal on behalf of the city.
Thank you. Council, do we have a motion?
Sure. Yeah, he's got it.
Councilor Thompson?
And then I'll second.
Okay, and Councilor Hickerson seconding. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstaining? Motion carries unanimously, which brings us to Resolution 2025-54. And just so everyone's aware, because I know that there is much more intense interest in how this vote goes than there is on who's going to be our auditor, I will be asking Mr. McBurnett to do a roll call vote for this resolution.
A resolution of the governing body of the City of Rock Springs ordering the closure of the Rock Springs Civic Center for construction, repurpose, and possible renovation.
Council, do we have a motion?
Your Honor, I have a motion to table Resolution 2025-54 until we can do some more research, see if maybe look for some funding.
Okay. Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, Councilor Hanson seconds.
Your Honor, I
Yes, sir.
have a question. Guess maybe to JJ or, as far as who you've been talking to do a assessment of the building, do we have a time frame for that, by chance?
Your Honor, Councilman Zotti, we do not have an exact time frame right now. They're putting together a proposal. There's not a lot of companies in Wyoming or even regionally that come and do the kind of work that we're hoping to see. We had found some just structural engineers, but as I stated in our last meeting, beyond a roof, we also have multiple systems pass end life. And I think to get the full picture of what we're looking at, that we would need to kind of identify what that's going to be so that the council has a good idea of what we're looking for. So if a 5-year plan or something like that is initiated, you guys understand what those costs what would be related to those costs. And they would be done by engineers and this company that we would ideally, well, I don't know if we would contract with them, but the ones that we're talking to did the work on the school district, on the high school, and they came up with, 20-year costs for this building to maintain it, as well as looking at the issues at hand right away, and then they would give us a full scope of what it's going to be if this is going to be a going entity. So if I was to guess, so that there's some idea, I would say by the time we could complete an agreement with them and get them on site and have them deliver. I would say it's going to probably be midsummer would be maybe a lucky guess. Maybe the end of summer. I couldn't say right offhand.
Your Honor, concerning the tabling, would it be more, with it, do you table a resolution, or would you postpone a resolution, or how would that work?
Well, right now, there is a motion to table the resolution, and the motion has been seconded. That motion takes priority over any additional motions. So the first thing that needs to be dealt with by the council is the motion to table the resolution. And so there will be, now that there's been a second, there should be a vote on whether or not to table the resolution.
Okay.
Further discussion?
Your Honor, my
Councilor
only
Bingham.
concern with tabling, making that motion is we would have to hear it, am I understanding this right, Mr. Beckwith, at the next meeting and decide then? Is that correct?
That's correct. If the council failed to take the motion up at the next meeting, a resolution can only survive 2 meetings. And so if it's tabled and it's not removed from the table at the next meeting, then the resolution essentially fails. But that doesn't prevent the resolution from being brought before the council again. So it's not like it's vetoed or something like that forever. You can bring it up again.
Okay.
Discussion, is that what you're wanting?
Yeah.
Well, we've probably heard about everything from everybody, every angle. I got something maybe a little different I want to share. The original Civic Center, Old Timers Building, was built in 1929 by the Union Pacific Coal Company. The Union Pacific came through here in 1869. That's a 60-year period from the time they went through Rock Springs till the time they built that building. When the railroad was coming through town, they wiped out everything. They took out all the buffalo. They took out all the Indians. That was the biggest genocide in this whole country ever. So, during that period, when the building was made, 1929 until today, there's been 250 miners killed in Sweetwater County. That's in 1929 until today. How many people do you think died in the coal mines from 1869 to 1929? How many people did the UP coal just waste, kill? Could you guys imagine getting in a coal seam that's only 2 feet thick? Probably your grandpa might have been in one of those. One of our people, my grandpa, been in one of those, 2 feet. And you dug coal all day. And you only got paid for what you pulled out. And then we had the Chinese massacre, 1885. That was all caused by the railroad and all their stuff. So there's been a lot of stuff that the railroad has done around here. And they give us the building. That was a reparations, the building. So I can't imagine how many people died between 1869 and 1929. There was 250 in that 60 years. I bet there was 1,000 that died from that first 60. So anyhow, there's a lot of history with that building. It's a national monument. It's a tribute to all the blood, sweat, and tears and the lives that we have given here in Sweetwater County. We all know how much money Sweetwater County sends to the state, all that oil extraction and mineral extraction. That's tough work, people. You think, oh, them are great jobs. Well, shift work, going underground, driving on the interstate, high pressure steam, high pressure electricity. It's dangerous work. I think the least we could do is keep that building open. People said I got a personal agenda. Well, guess what? My grandfather was killed in a coal mine. So that building has a little significance to me, okay? Because that's what it's about, reparations for all the stuff that the UP Railroad did. And I got one more thing. The Civic Center saved my dad's life. When the Civic Center was opened, my mom and dad were getting divorced. My dad was alone. My mom had my sister, but I was in college. And it just happened the Civic Center opened at that time. What do you think, Renard? You know about Tiny Malonis? Yeah. He's a legend, isn't he? It saved his life. Because exercise is he did not miss a day. If he missed a day, he might have died. Okay, so that Civic Center is very important for our mental health and fitness. And if we let it go, it's never going to come back again. And all our people, I know Dickerson's been in the mines. I know Pedri's been in the mines. And it'd be a crime if we let that Civic Center go. I'm telling you, it'd be a travesty to our ancestors, and it would be a disservice to our forefathers that gave up so much for what we have today. So think long and hard about this vote. Thank you very much.
Your Honor,
Councilor Zadi.
I have a question for Councilor Malonis. There have been a couple emails and statements that what we've asked, I guess, here in trying to save the Civic Center is where would we cut funding? Where would we find funding for them? In the past few months, there's been a couple emails and statements you've made that have said that you know good friends with a former department head. You know several ways to save money and to cut the budget. Have you shared those ideas with anybody at the council, the budget committee, or anything? Or was that, I've been looking forward to those ideas and I haven't heard anything. And now we're at a time of need, we're looking for funding, and I still haven't heard anything. So I was just wondering kind of where we stood there.
Well, I've tried really hard to get along, but I've been kind of excluded from everything. I think you're silly to think this place runs at 110% efficiency. There's got to be some waste somewhere. You know, if I could take a look and do some different things, I'm sure we could find some waste. It's insane to think this place is running 110% efficient. So, you know, I'd be more than happy to have a conversation with anybody about some ideas that I've heard and ideas that I have. But I think there's opportunity to look for waste and things like that. I look at how much money we spend at the golf course on temporary labor. Oh my God. Whew. But I don't really want to get into that, but I really believe there is opportunity for savings.
I was just curious because you stated you knew of ways, and I also stated when I called you and reached out to you to explain the RFP process, I did let you know you can call me anytime and discuss anything at any point in time. I'd be happy to do that. So to say you're excluded, I don't know where that's coming from. I've invited you to contact and reach out to me for any information or questions you have. But that answers my question. Your statement that you knew of ways you don't actually know. I'm just curious.
No, I do know of ways.
What are they? What could we do to get money to save the Civic
I wasn't
Center?
prepared to do this tonight, Rob. So
I just curious. I mean, are there ways? You just said there isn't. So all I'm saying is we're in a position right now where we're looking for money. We're trying to do what we can to save a Civic Center. If there's some information out there that's not being presented, I think it's doing a huge disservice to council and the community.
that's why I wanted to table this resolution so we could maybe take a look at that stuff.
So we don't have an idea. Okay, thank
Oh,
you.
I do have an idea. I do have an idea. I have all kinds of ideas.
Okay. Right now we have a motion to table. Is there further discussion that's pertinent to tabling? Matt, would you take us through?
Councilor Thompson,
No.
Malonis,
Yes.
Bingham,
No.
Pedri,
Yes.
Demus,
Yes.
Zadi,
I'm going to say no, but Rick, I'd still like to hear your ideas so we can discuss. And then the budget is set for, we have the final budget in June, so there is plenty of time still to discuss and explore ideas. So I look forward to hearing those thoughts.
Sorry, what, was that a yes or no?
Thought I said.
Hanson,
Yes.
Hickerson,
Yes.
Mayor Mickelson.
I'm a no. I would, though, and here's the deal. I appreciate Mr. Allen, right, asking for a year. But again, I would say to the public, if you can present me with a plan, right? So not just I need a year, but a plan to have a plan, what this will look like, how this will go. I'm literally asking for a life preserver. And I think everyone up here feels the same way. The information is out there. If you have questions that are specific, email them to you. I don't think that any of us sitting up here on the dais think that we're the smartest people who have ever walked God's earth. So if you have a plan to have a plan, please send it to us. And it cannot be sell the golf course. That's not a plan. Right? And that's what I've been getting. And at the end of my conversations, it's always just don't close it. And I'm like, I hear that. What's my plan? So I don't know. I have no idea how that vote went.
I don't either.
Pardon? Tabled? Okay, so the resolution is tabled. It will be back on the agenda for the council to consider at our next council meeting. And so y'all, you've got 2 weeks, right? So get us a plan to have a plan. And certainly, I've spoken about this previously, but if the Civic Center closes as a recreational facility, my intent is to find a way to preserve the UP Cole building and have that as an events space for the community. But even closing the Civic Center, as was pointed out earlier, not only, right, you can't shut it. If you just shutter it and walk away, we're not keeping it. It's going to be destroyed. And if we're going to relocate those services, there are going to be costs associated with the rec center. So this is not I have to save money for 2026. This is how can we take care of everything until my kids who are 16 and 10 have 16 and 10-year-olds. And so that's the plan to have a plan that I need. So with that, we will move forward to Resolution 2025-55.
A resolution authorizing submission of an application to the Wyoming Office of State Lands and Investments for a temporary use permit for recreational use and authorizing and directing Max Mickelson as mayor of the city of Rock Springs, Wyoming, and Matthew L. McBurnett as city clerk of the city of Rock Springs to execute said application on behalf of said city.
Matt, you'll have to wait and read it again because there's too much noise to hear. So if we can't hear, the record probably can't hear. So we'll wait.
Hang on.
I'm good. See you, Weimer.
Man, it's hot in here.
You ain't kidding.
Huh?
You ain't kidding.
Thanks.
So the next time, so what's better? No. Sorry to break down the emotion. I just wanted somebody to confirm. So the difference between.
Okay, we're going to go ahead and resume business. So,
That's why.
folks, if we could keep it down to a dull roar so that we can conclude the rest of our evening. Matt, if you will, please.
Yeah.
A resolution authorizing submission of an application to the Wyoming Office of State Lands and Investments for a temporary use permit for recreational use and authorizing and directing Max Mickelson as mayor of the city of Rock Springs, Wyoming, and Matthew L. McBurnett as city clerk of the city of Rock Springs to execute said application on behalf of said city.
Thank you. Council, do we have a motion?
Your Honor,
Councilor Demus?
I make a motion to approve Resolution 2025-55.
Thank you. Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Councilor Hickerson. Is there any discussion?
Your Honor,
Councilor Melonis?
what are they going to use that field for? Anybody have an idea? Something special?
Your Honor, Councilman Malonis, we've been using that field for some years. I don't know what number this is of turning this lease over, but I think that it's been multiple times now. But what I would say is, right now, we use it for our youth leagues, baseball, football, and then also importantly, the Boys and Girls Club use it as part of their programming through their school. That's just
Oh, so it's nothing new?
no. this
Oh,
is-
okay.
Yeah,
Thank you.
It's a multiple times.
Okay, any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstaining? Motion carries unanimously, taking us to Resolution 2025-56. Do we have a motion?
Your Honor,
Councilor Bingham?
56, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Move to approve a resolution.
Lord, no. Sorry, Matt.
So, sorry, I was waiting for a point to interject myself there.
You
Oh,
should
sorry.
just
Go
throw
ahead.
something at me.
Jumped ahead.
Resolution accepting and approving an ice rental agreement between the City of Rock Springs, Wyoming and Team Hockey LLC, and authorizing Max Mickelson as mayor of the City of Rock Springs, Wyoming, and Matthew L. McBurnett as city clerk of the City of Rock Springs, Wyoming, to execute said ice rental agreement on behalf of said city.
Thank you. Council, do we have a motion?
No, Your Honor.
Councilor Bingham?
Move to approve resolution 2025-56.
Thank you. Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Councilor Hanson. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstaining? Motion carries unanimously, taking us to Resolution 2025-57.
A resolution accepting and approving a contract for professional services with Sunrise Engineering LLC in the amount of $104,000 and authorizing Max Mickelson as mayor of the City of Rock Springs and Matthew L. McBurnett as city clerk of the City of Rock Springs to execute said contract on behalf of said city.
Thank you. Council, do we have a motion?
Your Honor,
Councilor Demus?
I make a motion to approve Resolution 2025-57.
Thank you. Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Councilor Pedri. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstaining? Motion carries unanimously, taking us to Resolution 2025-58.
A resolution accepting and approving a contract with R&D Sweeping and Asphalt Maintenance LC in the amount of $111,131 and authorizing Max Mickelson as mayor and Matthew L. McBurnett as city clerk to execute said contract on behalf of the City of Rock Springs.
Thank you. Council, do we have a motion?
Your Honor,
Councilor Thompson?
I move to approve Resolution 2025-58.
Thank you. Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Councilor Pedri. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstaining? Okay, the motion carries with Councilor Zadi abstaining, which brings us to our last resolution, 2025-59.
A resolution accepting and approving a contract between the City of Rock Springs, Wyoming and R&D Sweeping and Asphalt Maintenance LC in the amount of $1,468,727.75 and authorizing Max Mickelson as mayor and Matthew L. McBurnett as city clerk to execute said contract on behalf of the City of Rock Springs.
Thank you. Council, do we have a motion?
Your Honor,
Councilor Demus?
I make a motion to approve Resolution 2025-59.
Thank you. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Thank you. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstaining?
I'm going to abstain.
Okay, the motion carries with Councilor Zadi abstaining. Which brings us to our ordinances for this evening, none of which are up for the third reading. We'll begin with ordinance 2025-06.
An ordinance amending Article 13.8 of the ordinances of the City of Rock Springs, Wyoming, entitled Zone District Regulations.
Thank you. Next ordinance is 2025-07.
An ordinance revising, amending, restating, compiling, recodifying, and enacting a code of ordinances for the City of Rock Springs.
Thank you. And finally, we have ordinance 2025-08, also on its first reading.
An ordinance amending Article 3.5 of the ordinances of the City of Rock Springs entitled Humane Control and Regulation of Animals.
Very good. That brings us to council updates. If anybody would like to share. Councilor Hanson. That was an excellent update.
A couple hours ago.
Very timely.
I have some stuff.
Yes, ma'am.
I did the mock interviews with Klein, Wyoming. I did bowling for businesses. I did the food bank of the Rockies Mobile Food Pantry. And I attended the coffee with the commissioners and Young at Hart Town Hall.
Your Honor, I'm happy to say that I did bowling for business as well, and I'm even happier to say we didn't take last place. So
Yeah, we did.
it was
job.
just Jeannie and I, so we basically bowled.
All the time.
Yeah, it was nonstop. So, but it was fun.
Very good. Okay, with that, we are adjourned.